Hello, we are live. So, a couple things I wanted to discuss. Let me wanted to discuss. One being Mobile World Congress has officially been canceled for 2020 due to the corona outbreak. Number two being how smartphone companies mislead and or lie to their customers. So, a couple different things that I noticed today when doing some digging into the new S20 smartphones is um, relating to the 8K cameras only being able to shoot with the telephoto on the S20 and S20 Plus and the ultra wide on the S20 Ultra, things that were kind of left out. Also, as a photography enthusiast and someone who studied photography in college, and that's what my major was, it seems rather disappointing and misleading to me to have implied that 10 times or 100 times zoom would be anything kind of special. And this concerns me because as a consumer, you look and you see this and you go, oh, this is great. This has 10 times zoom. This is 100 times zoom. You know, you see it on the actual phone itself, on the back, on the packaging, you see it everywhere. But then when you go to use it and it doesn't look very good, it might look good at 30 times at maximum. And then on the lower end models, it might look good at 3 times, but 10 times, 100 times, they really haven't made any improvements compared to what's already out there. So this is a concern of mine when companies, make things look a lot better and imply that they're adding new stuff. And I just kind of wanted to talk about how it can hurt the image of a company, but it also is detrimental to the consumer. And also how everybody's kind of making a big hoopla out of this. And I feel like any consumer that wants to be, or any creator who wants to be honest with you, should make it clear that these are not devices for the everyday consumer and make it clear in their reviews, hopefully from here on out, what the actual full on good usage of these devices are and not just, oh, it can do up to 30, it can do up to 100 times. And so I'm hoping that as some of these reviews come out, that that's out there, that the honesty is out there because in the past, it really hasn't been. I feel like some creators play to the ploy of the companies, and that is detrimental to their image and the company's image, and it does not provide benefit to a company if you are singing their praise constantly when they're not doing certain things. They're taking and saying that we're going to offer this new stuff, but it's already been out there. The iPhone has kind of the one take already. If you go into the settings of the camera, let me pull it up real quick here. Photo capture outside of the frame, video capture outside of the frame. So if you snap a photo and later you decide that you want the ultra wide instead of the wide, or the wide instead of the telephoto, that is all things that are already possible. And as far as video, it does it as well. And even there are third party apps that have been doing this for a while. And my other concern is how good of quality are those going to be if the processor is trying to acquire those all at once? I would just like some honesty in the tech world from creators and from the carriers and the companies themselves. Um, Another concern of mine is they touted 5G and it really um isn't honest to the customer to claim that all these capabilities are there when most carriers don't even have that, and the ones that do have those speeds are in limited location. And I know that necessarily isn't on Samsung, that's on the carrier, but when Samsung comes out and says, "Oh, you're gonna be able to, stream 8K, or you're gonna be able to shoot in 4K, or you're gonna be able to do this high quality video chat because of 5G," that's dishonest. I already can do that. Um, FaceTime is proof. I used to FaceTime an hour to and an hour from work every day with my then girlfriend, now wife, and it would use like 25 meg total. It's very efficient and very high resolution, and to see that finally come to Android and a version of it is awesome. My other question will be, will that work really well if somebody has an iPhone? Because um, then, as an iOS user who can't use FaceTime on Android, I could download Google Duo and use it on an iPhone and chat with those people built in. What I really want to see carriers do is um, work with Apple and work with Google and Samsung to build video chat into the dialers natively on both. So I can just grab my iPhone, and go into the dialer here and, punch in a number and be able to go right into video chat. So it concerns me to see these prices going up. It concerns me to see the kind of misleading lingo that these companies use. And it also concerns me to see carriers jumping on board and singing its praise before they even have it in hand. Yes, I am talking it down before I have it in hand, but these are all based on facts, based on things that even Samsung has said, and based on things that people who have gotten their hands on it are saying. Um, and the same goes for Apple. They use these terms to make things sound like it's new, to make things sound like it's better. Google does the same thing. All the carriers, all manufacturers, I should say, are guilty of this notion that they're doing something first and taking claim for it, or that they're doing something better and it's not great. So it just concerns me. Um, and in particular, as well, to see $1,000 as the base price for a phone when that is $300 higher than Apple base iPhone 11 was. That is 42.58% more expensive. 3/7 more expensive. Yes, that adds 5G, which most people aren't gonna be able to use. 120 hertz, which most apps don't use. Talk to people that have the ROG Phone 2 and other 120 hertz displays, don't use it. My OnePlus 6T is smooth and it has 90 hertz, but it's mainly animations in transitions between apps and apps launching. But if the processor is fast, that animation doesn't really matter. I've turned it off, and yeah, you can tell a little bit, but that's negligible unless you're comparing it to another device, and most people are not doing such. So I just wanted to kind of do this stream, and if you guys have any questions about kind of what I'm talking about, or um, any questions you wanna see answered in a video or in the stream, just, put them in the comments. I just launched a video about the LG G8 and the Android 10 update on that. I need to get a different setup to do it, but I'm working on a video for the desktop mode built into Android 10 and the difference between the LG G8 and the OnePlus 7T with that. I can tell you the OnePlus 7T's version of it is pretty trash. Um, the apps can't be resized. There's a stutter, apps crash, Chrome crashes. LG G8, on the other hand, is pretty smooth. It's actually quite like Dex and even smoother. There is an issue with Chrome crashing in that though. Um, but I imagine an update will fix that. But at least I can put apps on the desktop on the main page on the desktop in the background on it. And they just need to improve some things like when you minimize an app, actually having it go somewhere rather than it just kind of disappearing and fading into the background, and you have to click and open it again to get it back. Snapping windows into place, things like that. I'd love to see it be more like Dex. Being able to hold the windows and like R and L or right and left key to pop them into place would be awesome. I just wanted to kind of hop on and do a short stream here and just kind of rant about some things. And um, I really, 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 really can see why um, people hold on to their phones for like 3 years, 2, 3 years now, and I will be doing that myself. Even as a reviewer, I will look to be doing more budget-friendly devices to review, and as software things are brought in, kind of cover that, and go from there. In other words, the innovation of new phones is stagnant, which would make one wonder how these phones feel they can charge what they do. Exactly. Thinking about $1,000 phone 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, iPhone 10, 999, to $1,500, $1,600 top end, $1,300 for the base storage capacity of a device. Yes, it has 5G, has a big, beautiful display, has all these cameras and stuff, but most of it's software. They use lenses that other phones have been using for years. They use some of the same lenses that they've been using. Processor-wise, the improvements are pretty minimal. They're not um, extreme to the point where you're able to do anything more than what you already were capable of doing for most people. 5G is not ready. They're putting it on there because they know that people want a new phone and that people keep their phones for a long time. But if that's the case, then why release a new phone every year? And if they're saying, well, we got to release this and we got to put 5G on it because we know people are looking for a new phone and they keep their phones for 3 to 5 years and will support it and we'll make it future proof, that's one thing. But if they're just coming out and saying, hey, we've got this new stuff when it's all software based, 3 times optical. After that, it's basically all software based up to the 10 times. And then after that, it's even more software based using the higher resolution. But if you consider that even if it was using the 108 megapixel, you're talking about a 1.08 megapixel image if you crop in 100 times then. That is very low resolution. Even 30 times in is a 3.026 megapixel image. It's just not good. Um, and requires a tripod. Who's gonna carry that? For me, what's more exciting is these devices like the Fold. I wasn't excited when it came out. I'm not excited about the price. I'm not excited about the lack of software when it comes to, um, minimal capability of what you're allowed to do and the orientation in which you can place apps side by side. Um, you should be able to do split screen up and down, things like that is not exciting to see. The flip is kind of neat. I just wish they would have put like a larger display on the outside. Like they could have made the whole entire one side a display and added um $100 to it and had it priced at the same price as the Motorola Razor. Or they could have left it at the same price as they did and beat them out in the competition by offering something usable. What it reminds me though of is the metal wallets that are RFID preventing, and or the old wallets that have like a strap around them. So it's concerning to see these phones going up so high in price, and also it's interesting to me to see that people, these big name people coming out and saying, "Well, it's all Apple's fault because they had the first $1,000 phone." Technically incorrect. The Note 8 actually hit above $1,000. It went up to $1,068 in the upper end model before the iPhone was even really iPhone hit that price point. It was actually the Note 8 came out like a week or so before it was announced, a week or so before, and it was released before. So, wonder if anyone has been able to pick up on borderline disgust from me, especially between Apple and Samsung with the $1,000 plus phones and not much exciting at all in return. Um, so with that, I would actually say that if any of the companies are offering anything of value by charging more, it's actually been OnePlus by adding features in and bumping up their prices a little bit. But if you were to look at, yes, their prices have nearly doubled from when they started, but so has every other carrier's phones, and so has the value of, I mean, it's in proportion of the change of time. The phone companies have pulled one of the biggest scam jobs and have created an emotional situation in which people that even OnePlus has picked up on. Yeah. Um, if I were to recommend 2 phones right now, one would be LG G8, which can be gotten for about a third of the original price that came out at, and the OnePlus 7T. Um, beautiful devices, completely capable of everything and anything that pretty much anybody would need, as far as 1080p, 4K shooting. OnePlus 7T has ultra wide, wide, normal, telephoto, um, macro mode, and a beautiful display. Speakers are pretty good, and in particular, I will be interested to see what they do with the 8 this year, and in particular, the 8T and 8T Pro later this year. Technology has become a software game. Hardware doesn't really excite too much anymore, and it's pretty much the same hardware. They're just capable of pushing more with software. So, that's where I'm seeing things. Hi, tech loving mama. You must have heard me talking about you earlier. Were your ears ringing? I was on Apple Monster stream and I was talking about you and um kind of promoting what you're doing, and it's been awesome to kind of become connected with you through the streams and things like that and our interactions on Twitter and, see your channel going and things like that. Um you're doing really, 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 really good, and it's awesome, and, I just wanna say, it's been awesome to kind of, become part of the tech community with you. I know I haven't been doing this super long, but I actually just got an email the other day from YouTube saying it's been a year since my first video that I uploaded, but that video isn't even up anymore. My official year that I will be celebrating it as a year will not be until May. Um, Even though my first video was January 31st that I did tech related, I took 4 months off after that video. But it's been awesome to kind of connect with people and see other people jump in this water too. So I am sorry, a little emotional about it because as someone who um, kind of dealt with anxiety and stuff for a while, this is awesome to me to be able to just interact with people. I don't have to leave the house if I don't want to. I can sit in my pajamas and stream. I can um, interact with you all and um, kind of see what you're doing, talk tech, and chill. And it's been awesome. So, yeah, it is definitely not easy with family. My son was tried to eat too much earlier today and threw up, so I was cleaning that up and then kind of catching up on the tech news and what's going on, and that Mobile World Congress is canceled, and kind of doing my research on these smartphones and where things are going, and um, professing my disgust with them mainly. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I know in a couple months here, we're gonna see. More than likely, we will see OnePlus launch a device. They're actually saying that March we might see a new OnePlus as early as March, and um, that um, we might see the iPhone 9 or iPhone SE 2 coming out in March as well. I kind of have my doubts on it. I know there have been case companies that have already launched some cases and things like that, so it's been interesting. So, tech loving mama, congratulations on I see you're at 131 subs. That's awesome. I am at 193 looking for the next 7 so I can hit that 200 mark. I am 100 views shy of 30,000, so I'm looking to hit that soon. And looking forward to just doing more of this and kind of shifting in a different direction away from always purchasing and looking at hardware and kind of going off in other directions into software, whether that be computer stuff, kind of like Tech Love and Mama's doing with tips and things like that, software updates, app reviews, app differences, iOS versus Android variations, and expanding my horizons to cover all the bases so I'm not just sitting here doing live streams and, talking about the same thing as everybody else. So hit a few snags, come up with trying to gather equipments, and the idea is still top of mind. Yeah, that happens. I had issues. That's why I'm kind of looking a little off right now because I tried to do an impromptu green screen and it didn't turn out super well. So we'll see how that goes. I um, yeah. With that note, I am coming on just almost 25 minutes, and I just wanted to make this a little quick stream and do a little ranting, get some things that were on my mind off my mind. Thank you, Apple Monster, Dr. Donald Walter, Tech Loving Mama, for hopping on here for a little bit, and I will be back tomorrow night with my typical Thursday stream, as I've switched kind of Thursdays with doing that now. I will be doing Tuesdays when I have special guests on. When I'm doing my content, um, my creator interviews, those will probably stick to Tuesdays for sure because I have a couple already planned. And I'm switching my other streams over to Thursdays though. So um, I've been thinking of getting a cheap iPad to help people with iOS too, since I get those questions often, and also to show a trick or two on that. Yeah. Um, if I were you, what I would do is look at um even the new mini, or the new iPad Air is pretty low in cost, but it has the newer A12 processors in those. And especially, I know you're on Sprint, so I would look and see maybe they might have a deal with that unless you just wanna buy a super cheap one outright. But, that would also be a good thing to test. Um, I don't know, I might wait on that to see if merger-wise, if there's some deals too. But, that's pretty cool to see that you're expanding and wanting to answer those questions because, I've been doing that too. That's why I carry iOS and Android devices, and I carry an iPad and, um, usually 2 or 3 phones at a time, so, um, if you guys have any questions, if the people that are watching this in replay have any questions, put those in the comments down below, and thank you for joining me on this impromptu, and I wish you all a happy day, and God bless as always. Peace out.